Okay, there we go. So let me just a second, make sure we are good to go. Okay, perfect. So hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. Thanks for our community, for participants on Zoom, for people joining us on Facebook. We're really excited to be presenting this workshop. We're really grateful for our presenters to take the time and to provide our community with a basics of banking workshop. So this is part one of two workshops that are focused on financial literacy that we want to make sure, and part of this workshop is to make sure that we empower our community and give them all the tools that they need to succeed in this country and in this state in general. And so we're really grateful to be able to present this to our community. Again, this is part one of two of our financial literacy series. Today's workshop is going to specifically just give us the basics and the overview of banking. And so that's kind of it from me. I'm just here to start us off. It's my pleasure to hand it off to our presenters from M&T Bank to get us started.
Good evening, everyone. M&T Bank is happy to present to the Palestinian American Community Center membership the first of two financial literacy workshops. Tonight, we're going to focus on the basics of banking. It's like a banking 101. Next week, we're going to focus on credit scores and credit reports. You know, at some point in our lives, we have a financial goal that will include a purchase that we just don't have the cash on hand for. For example, purchasing a home or buying a car. So next week's workshop will really help you understand the importance of your credit score, how to boost it, and how it enables you to gain access to money when you need it. Before we dive in, my name is Lee Del Porto, and I'm a branch manager at M&T Bank. M&T Bank is headquartered in Buffalo, New York, up by Niagara Falls, for those of you who are not familiar with M&T. And while we're 164 years old, we're newer to the New Jersey market. I've spent the last decade working with individuals and businesses in the retail banking arena. I also have a background in education, so anytime that I get the opportunity to be out in the community, educating and empowering the community on financial literacy, it's one that I jump at. So I have a co-presenter this evening, is my colleague, Gary Wyszynski, and I'll let Gary introduce himself and then we'll get started.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Lee. My name is Gary Wyszynski. Like Lee said, I am a branch manager as well at M&T. I've been doing it a little bit longer than Lee. I probably have 2+ decades in banking. And part of the reason that I've done that is I really enjoy being able to do things like this, getting into the community. My second career choice was education, actually, and I do a lot of coaching. So being able to do things like this really fulfills me. So I'm looking forward to a great session. And Lee, why don't we get started?
All righty. All right. Fundamental question. Why do you need a bank, right? A little difficult to interact on Zoom right now. So we're just going to dive right into why you need a bank. Today, to function in today's world, it's a basic need. Banking is convenient and affordable way to manage your daily financial needs. You're able to establish financial well-being and stability. You keep your money safe, right? If it's in the bank, it's FDIC insured. If you keep it under your mattress and it gets stolen or lost, that's it. It's goodbye. You also need a bank to save money, to understand how to grow your money, and most importantly is access to credit.
So when we think about the different types of bank accounts, one of the most popular, obviously, is a checking account. It is definitely a way to keep your money safe and not in the mattress, like Lee suggested. You can transact very easily through a myriad of tools, being able to deposit and withdraw. Online tools have expanded significantly, so you're able to pay bills and things like that. And one of the most important things is obviously being able to track where your money is and where it's going. So when we talk about how to get money into your bank, if you're working or on any types of programs, typically those are direct deposit. You also have the ability to use ATM machines where you can deposit checks and cash. The great thing about them, they're available all day, every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can use tools like your mobile phone to make deposits by simply taking a picture of the front and the back of a check. You have the most traditional way, walking into a branch and seeing your local banker like myself or Lee, and being able to make a deposit while we're there for you. And then there's also ways to do things online with tools like Zelle, which is part of your online banking at M&T, or other payment methods like Venmo and Cash App that are also attached to your bank account.
Okay, you put money in, but ultimately, we all need to get money out for various reasons. So there's multiple ways you can make withdrawals. Obviously, your debit card that is attached to your checking account is one way to get money out, either through the ATM, or when you're in a merchant, you could use it as, you can transact. Like if you're at the grocery store, it's a point of service. POS stands for point of service transaction. So there's multiple ways to use your debit card as payment. We sometimes caution, not to give your debit card out for recurring payments out of your checking account. It's ultimately difficult to sometimes stop the merchant from doing that, but it is a way to get money out of your account. Online bill pay is another way to withdraw money from your account. The bank will pay your bills for you. You can save on postage, you can save on time, and you can save on checks. And it's more secure. It goes electronically most of the time. And then obviously you can write a check to get money out of your account. All right, so what is a check? I mean, they're still not a thing of the past. We do see customers that transact in checks. Our younger clients tend not to use checks, but for instruction purposes, so you can understand a little bit more about the most important part of your check is, oops, hold on the bottom here, this is the bank routing number. And your routing number can be considered like the town you live in. If you live in Clifton, when the checks get cashed electronically and they go through the Federal Reserve, this tells the Fed what town you live in or bank. The next number is your actual checking account number. And the last number is the check number. So think of your check number as like your street number or your street address. So those are those numbers at the bottom of your check that we call routing numbers, and that's how they're broken up. And then obviously you need to date your check. You're going to pay your check to Gary Wyshensky for $500. Your written amount should match your numerical amount. Down here is where you would sign the check as the payee. And over here is just a memo section where you could keep track of what you're writing checks for. If you pay your landlord rent with a check, that is one way to keep track of your expenses, because you will be able to see them with your statements online.
So as we move forward and get into what an actual debit card is, I always say that a debit card is your key to the bank. It not only actually opens the door when we're closed to get to the ATM in a secured location, it allows you to make cash withdrawals at the ATM. It also allows you to put money in at the ATM, be it a cash or checks. And then obviously you can make purchases when you're at merchants. And some of those merchants will also allow you, I know, like if you go to a CVS pharmacy, you can ask for cash back. Some grocery stores also give that. So it's another way to access some cash. Now, one of the things to be aware of, your debit card will have a Visa or MasterCard logo on it. It is not a credit card. It will not build your credit in any way. It is that MasterCard or Visa logo just allows your stores, those merchants, to be able to process through their systems in order to deduct the money from your checking account. So one of the things that goes with a debit card is your PIN number. It's a personal identification number, and it's unique to you. It is one that you should never share. That is something we at the bank do not know what the numbers are. We can electronically send it out to you. It'll be a secret random number, or you can pick it. I do not recommend carrying it in your wallet, your purse, or writing it down. It should be something that you should easily remember. It's typically a 4-digit number. At M&T, it is a 4-digit number. Most banks have it as a 4-digit number. When you're at merchants, you can typically choose whether you're paying debit or credit. Those types of transactions, you'll either put your PIN number in, or they'll have you actually sign for the purchase. But both of those ways, the money will be automatically deducted from your checking account.
For those of you that maybe don't have a debit card yet, here's an image of what a typical debit card looks like. Debit cards all have numbers similar to credit cards, but like Gary said, it's not credit. It's your doorway to the bank, your gateway into your money. Credit cards are our money. Number 2 would be the expiration date. That typically shows up down here. We'll typically send out cards. I don't know, what's the lead time, Gary, when there's an expiration date coming up on a debit card? Does it
usually
typically
you'll get that 4 to 6 weeks before your expiration, and then as soon as you activate your new card, your expiring card will then be shut down.
Right. This is the logo that tells you it's like a MasterCard or a Visa, but as Gary pointed out, remember, it is not a credit card. Your customer service phone number is typically on the back of the card. The signature bar is right along here. This is the magnetic stripe. And then there's typically another security number over here in the back, not unlike a credit card. And then the network logo will be down here on the back as well. So,
and those network logos will allow you to access systems that may be international, to, where it will work on certain other networks. So it just gives you an idea of where you'd be able to use the card if you don't see the MasterCard or Visa logo.
Right, something like a Cirrus or something is a major network.
So one of the things that you definitely want to do when you're having an account is staying balanced, keeping your records accurate, so that, number one, you know where you spent your money, or you know who you spent your money with. From time to time, you may get a notice from the state of New Jersey that says you didn't pay your taxes. Well, if you keep your records right, you'll know exactly what check or payment you made. So you definitely want to keep that in your register. Writing down, when money comes in, when money goes out, even if it's a direct deposit from your job, you want to make sure that you're keeping your records, and, you can do that, balancing every day, by looking at your statement online or your activity online. A lot of different ways to, we've already gone through the ways to get money in and out, but, your debit card purchases, if you're taking cash out, your bill payments, be it online or through check, and then your automatic recurring payments. If you have your gym membership, which is a recurring payment, or you sign up with, in this area, PSE&G for your electric and gas, anything that you can sign up and have an automatic payment, if that's the way you prefer to deal, you can do that. And then you could also have transfers automatically set up to your savings account, that, or, if you have an investment account that's taking out a certain amount on a given basis. You want to make sure that you have all of that planned for, so that you don't lose track and say, oh, wait, why was I short $100? And oh, well, it's that transfer. So that's a true key to stay in touch with your account. And tools such as online banking or mobile banking really help you with that.
Okay, so more tips to help you stay in balance. And as Gary just alluded to and just started to say, you really have to know your available balance. You don't want to be paying merchants or paying friends and family or anybody that you owe money to when you don't have the balances there. It will result like in return check fees, embarrassment that the payment wasn't covered. We started to talk a little bit about the tools that help you know your available balance. Once you open up a checking account with any financial institution, it's pretty commonplace that the next step is to enroll in online banking. With online banking and mobile apps for all banks, there's the ability to set alerts. I have alerts coming in for every account that I have that tells me my available balance every single day. It's emailed and text to me that I am aware of what my balance is so that I don't overdraw the account. So the available balance, what is it, right? This is money in your account that's available for you to use. Like Gary said, like note-taking, like record keeping is so important. And at the very least, if you miss a step, your available balance alert will let you know, because your available balance will include transactions that are posted to your account and that have cleared. Sometimes you do use your debit card and the transaction is pending. So it may not reflect until it's posted. You may go to the gas station on a Saturday, but they won't pull the money until the following Monday. So once again, available balance, it's adjusted for your pending transactions approved, but on your behalf, but not yet processed. And the timing issue there sometimes is you'll run the card, but it doesn't even pend until a day later. And then available balance may not reflect all of your transactions. So you have to be mindful of that.
And as we continue on, if you've written a check or you've scheduled a bill payment that may not be electronic, or you've scheduled that bill payment in the future, and you've used your debit card to make purchases, those are things that you definitely want to, again, keeping your records and being aware of what your activity is. So as you go deeper into your available balance, when you make deposits, typically a check would be available the next business day after you've established your account. In our institution at M&T, after the first 30 days, you're an established customer, so typically you would see a next day availability. If you make whether you make that deposit at the ATM, through mobile, or in person at a branch. Cash, obviously, you can't do that through the phone yet. So that in person or at the ATM, that's available immediately. And then your transfers as well, whether it's a Zelle payment that you've received, your direct deposits, those are immediately available for use. If for some reason you do deposit a check and there needs to be an extended hold on it, you will receive something in the mail that will give you that information. And also, Lee touched on it a little bit earlier, having those alerts to give you what your available balance is at specific times. Setting those alerts also will help you manage when your money's available. So then when you move into your withdrawals, when you make a check card purchase, typically the vendor will do the amount of the purchase right there. Lee alluded to gas stations. In New Jersey, we swipe the card before we we actually make the purchase. So they only actually verify that it's a valid card, and it's typically for a nominal amount, and then it will post for the actual amount. And with gas prices the way they are right now, it's a lot more than what they swiped the card for. So just spent $50 on gas on the way home. It was tragic. Then you also have your online bill payment and transactions that you've scheduled. That will not affect your available balance until it actually happens. So if you've scheduled something, today's the 7th, if you've just scheduled something for the 15th, that's not going to be taken out of your available balance. So again, making sure that you're aware of what you have, scheduled out. And if you write that check to Gary Wyshensky for the $500 that Lee already coached everyone to do, that check, depending on when I receive it in the mail and then make that deposit, that's when that will clear your account. So again, you have the keys to the car, you have to know where you're driving it, and you have to know how much gas is in there in order to get there. So those withdrawals, you have to make sure that you have, accounted for. And then again, those automatic payments, we may have that gym membership that we don't necessarily use all the time, or the automatic car payment. Any type of automatic payment that you've agreed to, you want to make sure that you have that noted somewhere, that that's going to be coming out every 5th, 15th, whatever day of the month that payment is processed, so that you're prepared. And again, you're not using more funds because, today there may be $100 in the account, but you've already planned, to have 75 come out. You don't want to spend 50 and overdraw the account by 25.
Right, we're going to move on to the next area where banks support people. The question, why do we save money? Gee, Gary, why do we save money? Can you think of one reason why we might save money?
I want a new car.
All right.
Maybe a house.
There you go.
Retire early.
All right, so Gary, take us away with savings accounts.
There are so many different ways to, and so many different things to save your money for. I'm sitting next to my son's 8th grade graduation present. That's a lovely gaming computer that I had to save up for. The savings account helps keep your money safe. The good thing is they are federally insured. So if anything should ever happen, not since the mid 80s has the FDIC insurance, Federal Deposit Insurance Company, actually had to pay claims. But, should anything happen to the banking system, that insurance does, provide you that you will get your money back. So safety is a key. It does earn interest. So better than your mattress, even if it's only a couple of pennies. I always say, if there was a penny on the floor, why not pick it up? It's better that you have it than a large company, right? And with savings accounts, depending on how you access the money, you may be limited. So electronically, savings accounts are limited. So making online transfers from your savings to your checking and vice versa, you do have some limits there. But being in person, you can access all of the funds in your money. So being at a branch or an ATM, that counts as a physical location. So those are things that as you grow into this and spend some time with your banker, you can get more details there.
All right, some tips to consider when you receive money, particularly in a world where Venmo and Zelle and debit cards and credit cards are really king, right? Cash is becoming like something people that we don't really use it. And I feel like when you're not shelling out the cash for certain purchases, you can lose track of where your money's going. And sometimes it goes, you can be withering it away and not realize it. So the first thing to consider when you receive money is like the little things add up, right? Buying lunch every day versus bringing it to work, downloading apps on your phone mindlessly where, the app store is just pulling it out and charging your account, going to the movie. So if you have enough money saved up, You can. In fact, the more you save, the more you can do. But so just be mindful of the everyday things and think about where you can cut corners and where you're not consciously spending. Our second item is saving for bigger items, right? Gary's dreaming of getting a car. He just saved for his son's gaming computer. You know, so then then you'll need even more time to save because these items cost more money. So keep saving. Small amounts do add up. We have said it. We talked about automatic transfers earlier also, and we have seen that that is the best way. You don't even know the money's coming out. You keep it on your record, that you just keep moving it every paycheck, and before you know it, there's a nice lump sum in your savings account. Giving. Do you feel that helping others is important? And save money for giving too. You can help those who work with whales or look for medical cures or support the Palestinian American Community Center, I'm sure. They're always welcome to get support from the community. And then also for emergencies, you forget or lose your phone, you're gonna have to purchase a new one. If you don't have the money set aside for those type of emergencies, you're going to run into a problem. So just a few things to consider when you get money. Don't let it burn a hole in your pocket.
And again, these are just the basics of setting up the budget. You know, when you think about what a standard goal, if you will, you should know what your monthly expenses are, and anywhere from, you know, it used to be 3 to 6 months. I would say 6 to 12 months of your monthly expenses is a great plan to have set aside as you make your budgets. You know, and then as you go through your spending, you know, you should be asking yourself, do I need it or do I want it? And unfortunately, I've got a teenage a son at home that I have to have this conversation a lot because he thinks his wants are his needs. You know, truly understanding, you know, what is it that you need versus what is it that you want? You know, why do you need the pair of Jordans, or why do you need the new handbag, or, you know, why is, you know, do you have buyer's remorse the next day? You know, can you wait that one extra day? You know, sometimes shopping is therapeutic, and it does, you know, make you happy. You know, and how often have we walked into a room and seen, you know, a number of, and name an item, whether it be purses or, I'm looking at a lot of hats right now. You know, anything, you know, are they even being used? Do you enjoy that collection? And is it really something that you need to live with, or can you, you know, see it, appreciate it, and leave it in the store and say, you know what, I don't really need that item. Being able to do that on a consistent basis will certainly help you in your budgeting plan.
All right, so just to summarize some of the benefits of having a checking and savings account. Obviously, it's convenient and it's affordable. It doesn't really cost you anything if you're in the right solution. Affordable way to manage your finances. Financial well-being and stability. You know, that well-being, like shoot for that 6 to 12 month savings account, like Gary indicated, in case of emergencies. The safety and security of your money. We talked about FDIC insurance a lot today. And to save and grow your money for those bigger purchases. You know, and another benefit that we didn't list here that's really going to tie into next week's workshop is, once you have an established relationship with a financial institution and you've managed your money responsibly, when you're ready to take that next step and you need access to capital or cash for a home or a car, the way you've managed your accounts really supports, you know, your reputation and your character. And creditors look at those things when they're deciding on whether or not to lend to a customer. And also it affects the cost of the loan, you know, the pricing. Your interest rate might be a little lower because you've been a responsible customer with a financial institution for a period of time. Okay, Gar.
Yep. So Lee, all great points. And, you know, so kind of in wrapping up, The benefits of managing your accounts, in a responsible way, being responsible. You don't have to write it down. If you're monitoring with your alerts, utilizing the different tools online or mobile, staying aware. Like Lee said, it's important to your relationship with your bank. Those things matter. The longer you are a customer, the better good standing that you have. Those all help to build that financial base that you want to have as you talk about next steps in terms of building the credit. Being able to, we haven't even touched on, we've talked about savings, but saving for long-term goals like retirement, being able to, and I don't care where you are in the financial plan, it's never too early. I've got a 19-year-old that also hangs out at my house a lot, and a 22-year-old that I've been talking to them about, retirement plans since the day they turned 18. So being able to start that savings plan and have that idea in mind helps you make those responsible financial decisions, because you want to be able to enjoy life now, but also enjoy life even more in the future, to really save and grow your money. So the one thing that I never like to do, and I don't like dropping pennies on the floor. I pick them up. I don't like giving money away. And if you overdraw your account, there are fees that the bank will charge, because basically, if we're you've taken money that's not yours, so we charge a pretty significant fee. It's $38 that you give away if you overdraw the account. And whether the bank decides to pay it or not, that's up to the bank. But to have those types of fees and to pay those types of silly things, so staying current on your accounts, paying bills on time, and having the available balance correct in your account, in your records, is truly a key. So this is truly the foundation that will help you build to more important things. And next week we'll get into the importance of credit and understanding your credit report and how to grow it and how to use that as a tool to continue on your financial journey. Lee, do you have any parting words of wisdom for us?
I guess the one thing I would just like to say too, that we talked about being mindful with your spending. Saving could be just as addictive as spending. So try it out sometimes. But with that said, if there's any questions or comments, I see we have our June 9th date. I'm sorry, we didn't update our credit score to reflect July, 14 next week?
Yep, I believe so.
July 14, yeah.
Did we lose sound with you, Lee?
No, I'm here. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm wondering if there's any questions or
next
comments.
week. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And first, I want to just thank you both so much for doing this workshop and providing this for our community. I think sometimes, we just kind of focus on surviving day for day, but thinking about the long term, right, is also really important. So I want to thank you both for that. So we do have part 2 next week on the 14th. And again, it's going to focus on credit scores and credit reports. So that's going to be a little more detailed. We can I don't see any questions on the Facebook chat. So unless any Zoom participants have questions, then we can wrap up for today and prepare for next week. So any final questions comments before we wrap up? Okay, perfect. Thank you again both for that. It was really helpful. I took some notes also, so it was helpful for me. And I'll send out the I know you emailed me some stuff, Lee, so I'll send those out to everyone else who registered also before next week to prepare.
Okay, great. All right, guys.
Fantastic. Looking forward to next week.
Okay.
Enjoy. Thank you. Bye-bye.